Now for the sign up function to work, we actually need the instance of account. So as you know, which provider will give us the instance of account, your so as a as you can see in the providers, we have already defined that Appwrite account provider will give us the instance of account, and it will help us in the authentication. So we need this account. So final auth API provider equals to provider ref, and it's going to return auth instance of auth API. It's going to return auth API class, and for the account we get account instance from ref.watch Appwrite account provider. So see, whenever this account changes, the auth API changes. So now we get our account, and now what we are going to do, we are going to have a try catch block, try try catch block. So let's try and catch. In the try catch block, we will going to a final account equals to await. As you know, we are we it is future, so we are it is future, so we need to also define it async. We have already defined it async. Now we are using await underscore account dot, it going to give the create method. And now in the create method, all you're gonna need first, let me put comma over here, and format is not working right now. So let's just give it a user ID. So in Appwrite will gonna give every user a unique ID with the help of id.unique, and we are going to get our email and password, and that's it. This is all we are gonna need for our authentication to work. And now when this authentication is successful, we are going to return this account. So return right account. As you remember previously, when we defined our type def, you know, future either gonna return failure or either gonna return success. So if it is success, we're gonna return right. If it is failure, we're gonna return left. So when it is success, we returned right account. Now in the catch block, now again in the catch block. So catch block, remember, is we have used right. Now in the catch block we are going to use left. So return left, and in the left we are going to return our failure, and failure is going to have message e dot to string, and it is going to have stack trace. So e dot stack trace. One thing I also want to define over here is that we also need to give it a, you're also going to handle app write exception. So on app write exception catch e comma stack trace, and we are again going to return, just copy paste, that's it. Now our sign up function is done. We don't need to do anything else for the sign up. One thing I also want to do is at the rate override. Now everything is fine. Now sign up function is done. Again we are going to need another function which will going to be our login function. So again, for the login function, just copy this whole sign up function and paste it. Now change the name login and change it to model.session, as we only need the session from the login. And the try catch, we need a account dot create email session. So remove this create function and create email session. And in create email session you don't need this user id, all you need is email and password. So that's it, and it's going to return as a session session. That's it. That's it. We have done everything. Now what are the functions are remaining? We have implemented sign up, we have implemented login. Now we need to log out also, and we also need current user account. So first let's just complete the functionality of logout. So again, for the logout, just paste everything and over here write logout, and this logout function is not going to return anything. We just need it to delete the user session. So also it is async, and it don't need this email and password, so just remove them. And async it is, and we only need to also remove this. Now we don't need create email session, we need a, and we also don't need to return anything, so remove this also remove them also. And now we are going to need a account dot you can see delete session. And now we are going to provide it a session id, and this session id is going to be current. Now if everything is working, now we're going to return right. We don't need to return anything, so just none over here. That's it. Our logout functionality is completed. Now we need to implement the functionality of yeah, current user account. It is going to give us the current user. Now to get current user account, all you gonna need is first let's just copy all this and paste it over here. Now current user account, that's it. And to current user account, we don't need this we need this model dot account, and it is going to be of type future. Also you don't need this, and also remove this create function from here, and you don't need to return because it is future, so you don't need to return right or left. And here we just need return await underscore account dot get. So by this we are going to get the current account, and here in the Appwrite exception we are going to return null, and in the try catch we also going to return null. We don't need this stack trace, so just remove this from here and also remove this from here. So we have completely implemented our auth API. We have implemented login, sign up, current user account, and logout. That's it. Now all you're not gonna need now, you need to create a controllers for that. Remember, we don't want our UI to directly interact with the APIs. We are going to make controllers which are going to interact with the APIs, and these controllers are going to also interact with our UI part also. So over here in the auth folder, we create another folder which are going to be controllers. And in the controller we are going to make our auth controllers. Need our controllers which is going to be auth underscore controller dot. That's it. Now one thing I want you to tell guys is that even if we authenticate, our users are only going to be here. So we also, once we log in and sign up, we can see our authenticated users here in auth section, but we also need to save the users data and get that users data. So so for these two purposes we need to save our users in the users collections. So we need to save our authenticated users information. So whoever user is going to sign up in our application, we need to store their information somewhere, and we are going to store their information in the users collection. So to store their information, we also need to define another API which is going to be our users underscore API. So it is going to be users underscore API dot. So just like we created an auth API for authentication, we Also, we're gonna build a API for saving our users information and getting their information. So now let's just begin. First, let's first let me see. Here we have defined an abstract class for auth API class. Auth API class. This same approach we are gonna follow for the users API. So in the users API, we also gonna build another abstract class, which is going to be I user API. And this gonna have a future either void save user data, and we are going to pass it a user model, which is going to be user model. That's it. Also, we also need to get the users data. So to for that we need to get model dot document, get user data, and to get user data we gonna provide it a ID of the user. First let's just import model Appwrite models dot dart as model, and also import flutter underscore riverpod dot dart, and also import type underscore why it's not core slash type devs. That's it. And we also have our user model. Now we have defined our abstract class. Now we need to define APIs. So class user API, which we are going to implement iUser API, and this API class is going to have these two methods. One also, this class needs a database, so final data basis underscore db user API, and we are going to require data basis db underscore db equals to db, and that's it. Now this class needs this database, so we need database provider over here, Appwrite database provider, which we had defined in the providers. So now final user API provider equals to provider dot ref so we are going to define the user API provider, and it's going to return the instance of user API class. So it's going to return user API, and DB is going to be ref.watch, and it's going to watch Appwrite database provider. That's it. So we also got our database from our Appwrite database provider. Now we are going to implement both of these two methods again. Override, and it is going to be future future either void, and it is going to be save user data, and we are going to give it a user model. That's it, and it is going to be a sync. That's it, save user data async. And now just same as we did it, let's just copy from here. Yeah, copy from here, try catch block, and paste it. Now delete it. Now to save user data, what things we are gonna need? First, await underscore db. So we need to save our users information in the database. So we need that's why we needed underscore db, and we are going to need a method which is here, create a document. So we defined create document, and it need a database id which is Appwrite constants.database id. Also first remove these errors. So kick fix failure.dart, also fp.dart. That's it. Yeah, it also gonna need a collection id which is going to be our users collection. So Appwrite constants.users collection, and yeah, and document id. So it is going to be user model dot, yeah, uid, and data is going to be our user model dot to map. We are going to return, and in the return we are going to return it right null, because we don't need to return anything, we just need to save our users data. That's it. And now we need to get our users information. So to get the users information, you need again override, and here future model dot document get user data, and which user data we need we is, so which users data we need, we are going to provide that users uid, and to return the users data we are going to return again await underscore db dot get data get document, I give it value of async, and to get the data we need to provide it again same thing, Appwrite constants dot database id, Appwrite constant dot collection id, and to document id which document we need. Collection ID is going to be users collection and document ID is going to be UID. That's it. So we have also completed our user API part. Let's just format this whole document. Yeah, all thing is completed. Now we are ready to build the auth controller. We have everything. We have auth API, we have users API. Yeah, that's all we gonna need for our authentication. Now to begin with our auth controllers, I'm going to create a class which is our auth controller class. So this is going to be our auth controller and we're gonna extend state notifier and state notifier bool. Yeah, and it needs auth API because with auth API we are going to login sign up and auth API, and we also need a user API because we need to save and get our user data, and then you need to initialize auth controller required auth API comma required user API and again underscore auth API is equals to auth API comma underscore user API is equals to user API comma super false. Yeah, format document. That's it. You're going to be confused or thinking what this state notifier is. So let me explain what this state notifier actually is. This state notifier is going to hold this bool value. So this bool value can be updated and listened by the widgets that going to use this auth controller, so that we this bool value we are going to use for our bool loader to show loader. So currently super is false, and now we have our auth API. We have also let's just give let's just create a auth provider. So final auth controller provider equals to state notifier provider. Yep, it is state notifier provider and it is going to have ref and also Now it is going to return instance of our auth controller. So ref dot watch ref dot watch, and it is going to be auth API provider and user API. Same thing for the user API. Ref dot watch user API provider. That's it. So basically, what is this? What it actually is that whenever the any of these widgets, this auth API or user API changes, our auth controller provider basically our auth controller provider depends on these both of these providers, auth API provider and user API provider. So whenever either of these changes and whichever widget is being watched by auth controller provider, that widget is also going to be changed. That widget also going to be changed means that widget is again going to be rebuilt. So let's just say we this auth controller is going to change whenever this any of these provider changes, and whichever and where in whichever widget we are going to use ref.watch auth controller provider, that widgets again is again going to rebuild. And that's why also why we use state notifier, also because we need to update and also read the this bool value. That's why we used here state notifier. Now to get our current user, which define a method in this auth controller class, which is going to be future model dot account, and it is going to return current user underscore auth API dot current user account. This is giving me an error. Wait a minute. Import models Appwrite models dot dart as models. Yeah, error is gone. So this is to get our current user. Now to sign up. Now to sign up, we are going to define another function which is going to be void sign up. Again, why it is void? Because we only need to save our user information and we don't go return anything, so it is void. But to sign up we need to require email. This is going to be required string email. Another will be required string our password, and another is going to be build context. Why build context? Because we are going to show a snack bar context, and it is going to be async as we are making an API, as we will going to get make a API call, so we need async because that will gonna take some minutes. So here we gonna update the value of this bool to true, because when we are signing up we want to show a loader. And now final response is equals to await auth API dot, and what was the method? It was sign up and it was email password. That's it. Now when we get our response, we don't need to show that loader, so state is going to be false. That's it. And now we whatever response we got, we need to show whether it is successful or not. So what I did tell you, whenever it is failure, we are going to get the left, and whenever it is failure, we are going to get the right. So right will give us the account and left will give us the failure. So here in failure we will show a snack bar. So where is show snack bar, and we are going to provide context l dot message. That's it. Also show snack bar is showing some error. Let's just import utils.dart. Yeah. Also when we get our account, so right now whatever happen is that when we sign up and we get our response, we our user get authenticated, but we also need to store the user's information. Our account will get created, but it will only be here. We need to store that information because that user's information will not be gonna be saved anywhere in this app, right? So to save this user information in our collection, we are going to we have defined the save user data in here in user API. So we are going to use this to save our users data. So in right, let's just remove this, and it is going to be async, and user model, again it is going to be user model equals to user model email, and it is going to be r dot id. So from this response we get account, we get account id, email, and we are going to save this information in our database. So to save this information, again we are going to get final response to equals to await underscore user API dot save user data, and to save user data we have provided it with a user model. That's it. And just like this response.fold, we are also going to define response2.fold. So in case of error, just show the snack bar. Show snack bar, pass it with context slash l dot message. Again in the right, if everything is successful, we want to show snack bar. Also wrap cut paste. Content is going to be account created. Now you can log in. Account created, please login. That's it. Yeah. Also, when everything is successful, our account is created. So we will go to our login screen. So to go to the login screen, we are going to use the navigator dot push it is also going into context and pass it here our login view dot route login view dot route. Yeah. So when our sign up will get successful, we will go to the login page. Again I'm going to explain this. We are using auth API's sign up function to sign up in our application. When we sign up, our users information is not going to be saved in this collection users collection. So we want to save this information, and to save this information, save that users information, we are going to use this users API save user data function, and we are providing this save user data function a user model. Now now we are going to define our login function. Going to implement our login function. So login function is going to be void login, and it basically needs same as we did in sign up. Let's just copy the whole sign up function. So copy the sign up function and paste over here, and here change sign up as login. It requires email password, and over here underscore auth API it is going to be login. And when all of this is successful state is going to be false. Yeah. And rest.fold. Now in the right over here we don't need to save any user information, so let's just remove all of this. Yeah. And remove async from here. Async from here. So what we are going to do is whenever we are login, we need to show a home view widget. We built the home view widget later, but for right now we are just going to show a message that login is successful. That's it. Now our login, we have implemented our login. We also need to get our user data. So for to get our user data, we are going to define a method called get user data, and it will give the user data according to user's UID, and it is also going to be async. Yep. And after we going to return our document, and it is going to be await underscore user API dot, we have get user data, we passed the UID, and we got the user data, and again final updated user equals to user model dot from map document dot data. Yeah, we are just going to return our updated user. Why we this why we used from map here? Because we need user model, we need a user inform we need the information in form of user model type. So when we are getting the user data from user API get user data, it is going to return a future document. So we need to convert this future document into user model. So that's why we used from map. That's it. Now we are going to implement our logout function. So logout function is going to be really simple. You just need logout, build context. It is going to be async and final response equals to await. What was that? Auth API dot logout. So I was just making a request to logout auth API's logout. So when it is again rest dot fold. Yep. Oh sorry, I have written. Yeah, rest dot fold. And this rest dot fold again. Yeah. So when it is L, we are going to just return null, and when it is right, we are going to we will go to the sign up view. So we will just navigator dot push and remove until context slash sign up view dot route. So when our logout is successful, we will just go to the sign up view. That's it. Again, it's showing some error. Expected context push and remove until oh, this. Now we are done with our login function, sign up function, our current user function. Now we are going to define some providers which we are going to use later in our application. And this, so first provider is going to be our current user details provider. it is going to be future provider. Yeah, so we need to get we are defining a provider which is our current user details provider, which is just return the our current users detail. Now why we are using future provider here, as you can see in the definition over here, by using future provider, the UI will be able to read the state of the future synchronously and handle the loading error states and rebuild when the feature completes. So you so over here we are going to have our current user ID, because we will get our current user with the help of the current user's ID. So current user ID is going to be ref.watch current user details, no, account provider. Quick fix. The current user account provider we are going to define, we need to first define it in here. So final current user account provider, and it is going to be our future provider. Current user account provider, it is going to be our future provider, and it is going to be ref again. And now you need final auth con controller, the app auth controller is equals to ref dot, it is going to be ref dot watch, and this provider is going to be auth controller dot notifier. uh, yeah, auth controller provider dot notifier, and now we just return auth controller dot current user. So with the help of this current user account provider, we are getting our current user's ID. Yeah, it's completed. Now also we also need our users details provider. So final user details provider future dot future provider. Here we are going to use the future provider dot family. So for user provider dot details, we also need a UID. So it is going to be string UID, and we are going to define final auth controller. Just take it from here. And auth controller dot notifier, and we are going to return the user's data. So return auth controller dot get user data. Here we are going to pass the UID, and now we are going to complete this current user details provider. So what we are going to do is, so what is happening here, we need to get current user's detail. So first we need to find out which is the current user, and after that we need this current user's detail. So just completed final user details is going to be ref.watch user details provider, and we are going to provide it with a current user ID. That's it, and we are going to just return our user details dot value. That's it. Now everything is completed. We need to go to our login view. Yeah, now we are done with our controllers part. Now what we need to do that when the user clicks, we need we need to log in the user. So for that, what we need to do, we need to define a login function so that on login user can log into our app. Also dispose both of these controllers. So void dispose also at the rate a override, and now it is going to be super dot dispose and email controller dot dispose and password controller dot dispose. Now what we need to implement on login function. So void on login, and here we are going to define ref dot read. Why we are reading this? Because we only need to return, we don't need to listen to the changes, we only need to return, we only need to read the provider. So for read the, we are going to get auth controller dot notifier dot login, and we are providing it with email controller dot text password controller dot text. That's it. Format the word document, and when we done, we are just going to on login we are just going to call the on login function. That's it. So why we are using consumer state widget? Because whenever this ref dot get not sorry ref dot read auth control notifier notifies this consumer widget, we want this widget to rebuild. That's why we are using consumer state. As you can see, has access to allow it to read and it allows it to read the providers. Now same thing for the sign up. Let's just copy both of them. Copy, sign, go to the sign up view. Over here, just paste it. Auth controller dot sign up. That's it. And over here we are going to, we have defined the same name, change it to on sign up. Over here also on sign up. That's it. So we are done with our login and sign up view. Now we are going to check that whether we can log in or not. Just wait for some time. Yeah, let's just does not have account, go to sign up, and over here just define, let's just say m@m.com and give it password as 1234567 8 and click on the done button. Yeah, as you can see, account created, please log in. And if we check in our auth, we get our user, and let's just check our database whether the, yeah, our user information is correctly saved. As you can see our user information is correctly saved with email m comma m. And now we are going to check whether we can log in or not. So here we are going to m@m.com and we are going to provide it the password 1234567 8 and we are going to click on done button. Yeah, we are getting login is successful. That's it. So as you can see, we have done with our authentication part, and authentication part is correctly working in our app. Now what we need to do, that if our login is successful, we actually can see the whole list of all the tasks of the user. So for that we are going to define we are going to make a home view. In the home view we are going to show all the list of the tasks when the user is logging in our application. For that, in the features we currently have only auth. Wait a second, we have made widgets outside the auth. So let's just move here. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. Yeah. Then features, and in these features we have auth. Yeah. Auth have both the features, widgets, and everything. That's great. And now in the features Now make another folder which is going to be our home. Again, make another folder in home which is going to be view. And this home view we are going to make another home underscore view dot. That's it. Also, let's first close all of. Just close all this, and now we are going to build our home view. So whenever user is logged in, we can see our home view. Also, what we want is we want to persist the user. So if the user have logged in, until the user have not logged out, user don't need to log in our application. This feature you can see in many applications that until user is not logged out, user is currently logged into the login to our app. So for that, let's just build our home view first. And for the home view, now we are going to start the home view. So home view is going to be a stateful widget. State, yeah, stateful widget, and give it name as home view. Yeah, that's it. All we gonna need. Now you need to, yeah, material.dart. Everything is done. Now let me first define the route for our home view. So this is going to be static route, and this route is going to be material page route builder. Give it context const home view. Save it. So in the login view page, whenever yeah, yeah, on login we will, when login is successful, we will go to home view, which is not in here. We will define it in our login function. So in the login function, when login is so when login is successful, we will go to the home view. So navigator dot push context and give it route home view dot route. Yeah. So when login is successful, we will go to the home view, and in the home view, let's just return a text right now, which is going to be home. Yeah. Now As you can see, our app is restarted and we are again in the login page, but our user have already logged in and the user has not logged out of the application. So until the user has not logged out of the application, we want the user to show the home view only. So for that purpose, I'm going to get our current user. So in the main dot, let's just remove this and have ref dot watch, and what we are going to need current user account provider, and this is going to have when. Also this is showing error in ref, so we need to convert this into consumer widget. So to convert our main my app widget into consumer widget, just say let's just remove the stateless widget from here and extends consumer widget. Yep, and in the build context, provide it with widget ref, and it is going to be ref. Yeah, and now implement this provider.when. Now one thing I need to show you that this going to have a what we are going to show. Mm, no. Yeah, so this when basically performs an action based on the state of our async value that we are getting from our current user account provider. So it is going to have error and loading. So let me first complete the implementation of it. So data, going to get data, and when we are getting the data, this data is our user, and if user is not equal to null, so if user is not equal to null, we are going to simply return const home view, else we are going to return const login view. That's it, we are done with the implementation data part, and now we need to implement error. So if there is error slash stack trace, it is going to return error page, and this error will be error dot to string. Also we also need a loading. So when it is loading, we are just going to show loading page. So save it. Yeah, so as you can see, our user has not logged out. It's still logged in our application, and that's why we are seeing our home view. Otherwise we gonna be it will show us the login view. Now we are going to build this home view. So our home view, first we define final. It's going to have an app bar. It is going to be UI constants dot app bar. Yeah, and it is going to be a scaffold widget, scaffold app bar, save it. Yeah, our app bar is here right now. For the body, we are going to have a center and center child text home view. Now in the body we need to show the list of all the tasks, but currently we don't have any tasks. We have not implemented the tasks part in our application. So we are just showing a center text here. Also, we are going to have a floating action button here, and we are going to show a floating action button which gonna have a plus icon. Mm, that just is null and nothing, and floating action button we are going to give it a focus color which is going to be palette dot red color, and also it is going to have a hover color, and it is going to be palette dot background color, and it is going to be a child, and as a child we are going to define our we are going to give it a icon. So in this icon we are going to have icons dot add. Yeah, and it is going to be a color is going to be palette dot white color. Yeah, everything is fine. On a document, save it. Yeah, as you can see we have a floating action button over here, but uh, one thing it is that focus color is not showing me the red color. Let's just say background color, it is going to be palette dot red color. Save it. Focus color, yeah, now it is red. And on hover, just change on hover, what color should I give it? Black. Now it is changing. Yeah, focus color is red, background color is white. Yeah, now we need to implement our tasks part so that user can see its tasks over here. Now to begin with the implementation of our task so that user can add their tasks and view them and mark them as completed, and also can delete these tasks. So for our task functionality, we also need the tags underscore API dot. Even before that, before I begin with the tags API, I need to define another provider, which is going to be Appwrite real-time provider. So what actually is Appwrite real-time provider is basically what gonna happen, like as you can see where we have our API. When we click over here, we can add our tasks. So but when we get our tasks, so our new task will not immediately get added in the air. We have to restart the app and then we can see our new apps. So we are so the problem here is that we will not get our tasks in real time. They will not get updated and created and deleted in real time. So for all these to happen in real time, we need our Appwrite real time provider. Save it, and it is our Appwrite real time provider. Now even before now task API, also we also need to define a model for our tasks, and that model, yeah, task model. Also in the tasks over here, we need to define add all the attributes. So even before adding the all the attributes, let's just create our all the more let's just create our task model. So just like our user model over here, let's just copy it and paste it. Yeah, and make it task model, task model. Yeah, and now we are going to define the different properties it going to have. Our task model is going to have a title of our task. So it is going to be title, and it is going to be, we are also going to have a description. We're also going to have date time. So it will be the date time, means on which date and time that task is created. So created at, and we are also going to string UID, which is going to be the user's ID, and final string. It also going to have a priority, and string priority, and we need to have a boolean value to mark whether the task is completed or not. And this task is also going to have its own ID. Yeah, everything is completed. Now all we need is to add required is dot title. I'm just going to copy it and paste it, paste, 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 paste. 6 times I have pasted. So just change over here description, created at, change the creation to created. Yeah, created at UID priority, and whether this task is completed or not. This is also going to have required this dot id slash. Yeah, now all I need to is generate the data class. So generate data class. Hmm. So I have generated the data class, but just like we did in our user models to map function, we also need the same thing over here. So final result is equals to string comma dynamic result dot add all title title. And we are going to return the result. Yeah, spelling mistake. Now change it to description description. That's script description. Yeah. Now created at is going to be created at dot. We are going to change it to milliseconds. Yeah, and also UID, which is the ID of our user whose tags we are going to save, and also this is also going to have a priority, and it is going to be priority, and it is also going to have a is completed is completed. Save it. Everything is done. Yeah. Now also change this ID. Yeah. So we have implemented our task model. Now we have to implement our task API. Yeah. We have defined the task model in our task API. Just just select everything, cut, go to the where is our task model, paste. Yeah, and I need to import dart .io .convert. Yeah, remove dart.io, save it. Now begin with the task API part. abstract class iTags API, and what tasks are we gonna, what functions we going to have, like we need to have add tasks, we need to get the users tasks, we need to get the latest tasks, we need to update them also, and we also need to delete the tasks. So for add task, add task, it is going to be future either document add task task model task. Now we need to get user task, so it will be future list of documents get users get user tags. So this function is for getting a particular user tags, and we are going to provide it with users ID, and also I'm going to have a stream real real-time message. Mm, it's going to get latest tasks. So this real time will give us a stream stream of data in real time. So to get our, so we can get our latest tasks in real time, and we don't need to restart our app again and again. Without this real time, we will not get our tasks in real time. So we need another two functions also, which are going to be future either document, and this function is going to update our task. So it is going to be update completed to mark that whether this particular task is completed or not. Update completed. Another is future void. Now this future void is for the delete task function, and it is going to have a task model task. Yeah. Now what we need to do is we need to implement all of these functions in our tags API class. One thing over here is that this tags API class need uh, will need a DB, which is our Appwrite database, and to get that we will use Appwrite database provider. And final task API provider equals to provider ref provider ref, and it is going to return tags API. We will implement this tags API class also. Let's but first import Flutter Riverpod package. Yeah, it is going to have db ref.watch Appwrite database provider, comma, real time app app.watch real time provider. Now we are going to implement the tags API class. So for that class, tags API implements I tags API. It needs final databases underscore db and final real time underscore real time. Now tags API required databases db, comma, required real time underscore db equals to db, comma, underscore real time equals to real time. Yeah. Now at the rate a override, and we are going to implement future. Let's just copy this wall, copy, paste over here, and it is going to be async async entities again, just like we did in our auth API and user API. Let's just say, yeah, user API. We created a document, so copy this whole thing, copy, and go to task API, paste it in here, and first let's just import fp dart. Also need to import failure, and now we need to create a task. So to create the task, we need our task collection and document ID, which it going to create is going to be unique id dot unique, and the data will be tags dot to map. Yeah. Also, I need to import this Appwrite constants. And now when everything is successful, we just going to return the document. Yeah. So now we can add our tasks. One thing, now we are also going to implement the get users tasks. So to get the user's tags, again we are going to copy this whole and paste, and it is going to return our future list of documents. List document get user tags, and provide it with a string uid sync, and now as we are not using future either, so we don't need this left right, so just remove them and also remove the try over here, and it is going to be final documents and db dot list documents, and it going to return documents dot documents. Also you need to provide it with query. So in Appwrite, to give Appwrite the query, we need to define our queries, and which is going to be query dot equal, and it is going to be uid. Now I have defined our query. Also in our Appwrite console, give it the provide it with all the attributes. So we need a title which is of string, and give it size of, let's just say 50, and it is going to be required. Add it. Again we going to need a description. This description is also going to be string 255 required. Done. Also what other things our tasks had, let's just go to the task model. Where is our task model? Yeah, it has this date time created at so this date time we had title, description, now created at copy, paste. It is going to of string integer value and required created. Again I'm going to have another property which is going to be uid, and then we have priority, and then we have is completed. Now uid, it is going to be string, and let's just give it size of 50. Create uid, and also uid is completed. It is going to need priority. Priority is going to be string. Create another which is going to be is completed. Is completed will be of boolean type, and it is required, and its default value will be false. So create. So we have defined the attributes in our Appwrite console. One thing I need is create index. Why I need to create index? Because we are going to search for the tasks which are of a particular user according to that user's user ID. So for that to work, so for this function to actually work, we need to define here indexes, otherwise this will not gonna work. So select the attribute as UID, index value is going to be key, and descending order. Great. Yeah. Index is created. Now get latest task. So to get the latest tasks, we need to subscribe to the Appwrite real time, which is will return us a stream. So over here we need to subscribe to that particular collection from which we are going to get a real time data. So for that, all you're gonna need, type here databases dot, and database will be our Appwrite constants dot database ID dot collections. Collections dot again dollar sign, and then Appwrite constant dot task collections dot documents. That's it. That is how we subscribe to real time to a particular collection.